Aky Karim. I am a host of a boxing show called Boxmania. I'm a reporter for realcombatmedia.com and British Boxer's website, as well as this YouTube channel, Chaos Boxing. But today, the key issue is this great fight in the 147-pound division between Keith one-time Thurman and Danny Swift Garcia. And it's a great fight. It's a really exciting fight. It's got me thinking a lot. Mainly because they're both in their prime, and you don't really see that these days. Look at Mayweather Pacquiao, for example, yeah? Let's not even go into that one. So they're both 28 years old, they're both undefeated, and I personally think it's a fantastic fight. Now, let's firstly start by looking at Keith one-time Thurman, great fighter. He's 27-0 with 22 knockouts, so obviously he carries a bit of power with him. He's fought 120 rounds, and he's 28 years old, so he's virtually in his prime. Now, look, I personally think he's the real deal. Okay, he can box, he can move, he can punch. He's got a good chin. He's sturdy and durable. He's tough, you know, and he's got everything going for him. Now, notable wins. Obviously, his most notable win is against Sean Porter, which was a really good fight, close fight. They both traded at times. It was a war at times. They both showed some boxing skill at times, but that was a really good fight, and I think Keith Thurman was the rightful winner, but it was close. He proved there, though, he can fight on the inside, which has always been a criticism of him, that he can't fight on the inside. People said, you know, getting the Guerrero fight, he showed some weaknesses on the inside, but actually he showed in that fight he can when he needs to. Obviously, he's better as a mid-range fighter and as a boxer mover, boxer puncher, but he proved in that fight he had the minerals, okay? The Guerrero fight turned out to be quite a grueling fight. In that fight, for me, he showed he had great fitness, stamina, endurance, which is obviously a must at the elite level. He has fought a couple of punchers, Diego Chavez, Soto Carras, a couple of punches there. And also, don't forget, he's a natural 147-pounder as well. He's campaigned for most of his career at 147-pound. Unlike Danny Garcia, who's moved up from the low weights and spent a lot of his elite career at 140 pounds. The thing I like about Keith Thurman is his ring intelligence. He does actually have a lot of ring intelligence, and I actually like listening to him break down fights because he clearly understands boxing. So he's a guy like Paulie Malignaggi, who I really loved. You know, if I see an interview with them online, I'll go and look at their interview because I like the way they break down fights. Keith Thurman, for me, is one of those guys. He understands the ring, he understands the craft, he understands how to beat the opponent that's in front of him by applying different styles. I don't think he's a one-dimensional fighter. I think he's got a good all-round game, and he's a good fighter. I mean, at 147, I don't see many fighters that beat him. I mean, I'd have to really think about the Brook fight and the Spence fight, but we're not talking about those today. We're talking about the Garcia fight, which I think is a great, and just in general, the 147 division is red hot at the minute, red hot. It's one of my favorite divisions. I mean, there's others that I love, but you know, 147 division, hot division. His weaknesses, I don't know if he's got any noticeable weaknesses, but he has been proven to be susceptible to body shots. The Guerrero fight, the Porter fight, the Bundu fight, the Chiasso fight. He's shown he can be caught with body shots and hurt with body shots, but at the same time, did he lose any of them? No. Did he fight back? Yes. Did he, you know, do what he needed to do? Yes. He's an elite fighter, Keith Thurman. There's no denying it. Let's look at his opponent, Danny Swift Garcia. 33 wins, undefeated with 19 KOs. Not a massive puncher, just under a 60% KO ratio, but as we'll go on to look at, the way he actually sets up his punches is pretty good. 28 years of age as well, so in his prime. Interestingly, he's fought a lot more rounds than Thurman. He's fought about 208 rounds, so he's generally considered to be slightly more experienced. People have said that his hands are slow. His hands might be slow, but he's got immaculate timing for my money anyway. Of course, he's moving up. Well, he's moved up from 140 pounds to the 147 pound division. It's not his natural weight, but he's not carried the power up with him to 147 for my money, but I still think he's got respectable power. I think he's got great balance. I think he's got a good mental toughness. You know, that's important, mental toughness. We'll come back to that. Listen, he's been cleverly matched in the last few years. Let's be honest. He's been cleverly matched. The likes of, you know, the Malignaggi fight. No disrespect, because I love Paulie Malignaggi, but Rod Salka, Vargas. I mean, he should not have been... Rod Salka should not have been in the ring with Danny Garcia. But, you know, it is what it is. You have to remember, he's had some clever matchmaking, and at first glance, you look at the Thurman-Garcia fight and you think, well, it's a walk in the park for Thurman. But let's not forget, Danny Garcia has had his fair share of tough fights. And what I love about Danny Garcia is that he wins the fights that he's meant to lose. Okay? So fights like the Nate Campbell fight, the Eric Morales fight, the first, well, Eric Morales was, you know, at the very end of his career, but still a lot of people picked Morales to beat the relatively inexperienced Garcia. Fights like the Zab Judah fight, I suppose he was favourite going into the Judah fight. The Amir Khan fight, that's an interesting one. That holds a lot of keys for me, because Amir Khan outmatched him in a lot of ways: speed, range, movement. But in that fight, Danny Garcia proved that he can adapt, because for the first 2 rounds, he didn't even see the punches coming at him. They were blitzing him. But he warmed up, and what he realised he had to do was to stand in the pocket and throw an exchange shot. And the left hook was beautiful. Caught Khan mid-combination. Very difficult to do. You need to be brave and you need immaculate timing. And I just thought, people say it was a lucky punch. I do not agree with you for a second. It wasn't a lucky punch. He waited for Khan. He got the rhythm. Khan was throwing 3 punch combinations. Pop, pop, pop. He waited for the first 2 shots, right hand. Left hook, left jab, right hand. And as Khan was throwing the uppercut, he caught him in the exchange. That's a real talent. Proved a lot for me, that fight, Danny Garcia. He was meant to lose that fight. He was meant to lose against Lucas Matisse, and that for me is his best performance. Lucas Matisse, a great fighter, a good puncher. At the time, he was a killer. Don't forget, he'd just done Peterson in, was it the 3rd round? I can't remember exactly. He was considered to be a killer at the time. Everyone picked Lucas Matisse to beat Garcia. Okay? What did Garcia do? He adapted to a dangerous puncher. So against Khan, he adapted to a speedster. Against Matisse, he adapted to a bona fide power puncher. What did he do? He diffused him. He befuddled him. He boxed. He punched. When it was an exchange, he threw back hard. He toughed it out. That was a beautiful performance Danny got. And you know what? That's the performance for me that really makes the fight with Thurman interesting, because a lot of people are writing Danny Garcia off, and I just cannot write this guy off. Maybe it's because I love Angel Garcia, but no, I mean, on a strictly technical boxing level, it looks at first glance that Thurman has got too much in his arsenal for Garcia, in particular the fact that he's a naturalised 147-pounder. But look, here's my point. Garcia is like a chameleon. The man adapts. The man always finds a way. He's been cleverly matched, but he's also proved against top caliber fighters that he can pull out the win when he needs to. He's tough himself. He's got a very good chin. Look at the Judah fight. He's got good ring IQ, you know? Yes, he's slower than Thurman, but in terms of ring IQ, okay, he's probably got slightly less ring IQ than Thurman, just in the way that Thurman moves and positions himself around the ring to set up his punches. But look, Thurman's a great fighter, but he has laboured 2 wins. He's laboured against Porter, although Porter is a great fighter, pressure fighter. He laboured against Leonard Bundu, right? I mean, look, people say Garcia lost the Herrera fight, and I agree. I think he did lose the Herrera fight. But for some reason, I cannot count this guy out. The way I see the fight going is it being quite an even fight early on. I think Thurman's superior movement will have him ahead in the fight at around 6-7. I think Thurman will be ahead. He's very, very sharp. He's in and out. He's good at moving laterally. But I think Garcia has some star quality about him. I really do. And I know people are going to hate on me for this, but I really think Garcia has some star quality. He has an ability that super talented fighters have, which is to never look amazing, but to always win. And I'm going to be controversial here, guys. I actually think Garcia will beat Keith one-time Thurman, and that's no disrespect to Thurman. I love Thurman. I love watching his fight. I think he's very exciting, entertaining. Like I say, I like him. But you know what? I just see Garcia down the stretch, calling on those reserves that he has, that toughness, that mental strength, No, sometimes Angel Garcia sounds a bit strange, but he talks about this spiritual connection he's got, spiritual toughness that Danny Garcia has got, and I believe him. I think Danny Garcia, over the stretch, calls on those reserves and will beat Keith one-time Thurman on a very close, razor-thin points decision. Might be controversial, but that's why I love boxing. I know you're going to disagree with me. I know 90% of you are going to disagree with me on this, but I don't care. That's what I think is going to happen. You can hold me to it at the end of the fight. So, there you go. Danny Garcia wins by a narrow points victory. May even be a split decision. There you go.